And I remember this Australian man, James was his name, he offered me coaching. And it cost $1,500 an hour. You guys think that's a lot of money? No. Yeah. Especially when you don't have any much money and someone's asking you for $1,500 for his hour of time. And I remember just thinking in front of my computer, what if I spend 1 hour and I don't get the value? Or what if I have a question and he can't answer me? Yeah, by the way, this guy had made over $10 million. So he knew a thing or two about making money online. And I remember getting on that call and talking to him. I said to him basically where I'm at, and he said to me, Shaq, what you have to do is position yourself as the authority in the marketplace. Pick a topic, get good at it, and then position yourself. And I said, I sell this program called solo ads. He said, how do you sell it? I said, I sell it. I have to talk to people on Skype, XYZ. And he said, what I would do is I would create like the solo ads agency. And I remember being on that call, I had no distractions, but I went to GoDaddy.com and I bought soloadsagency.com. Within 12 months, this was about 4 years ago, 3-4 years ago now. At least 3-4 years ago. I went onto GoDaddy.com, bought soloadsagency.com. Within 12 months, because of the power of positioning and because I was getting coaching from him, I positioned myself in the marketplace. This was how I first made my first million or my second $1 million when I was about 23, 24 years old. And within 12 months, my income went from making up and down income to making $300,000 a month. Is that powerful? And this was about 3-4 years ago. And God bless me, I don't think my income has ever dipped under 300,000 for the last many, many years. And now I'm at a position where my business, last month we did about $800,000. I do have costs, so that didn't all go into my pocket, just so you guys know. I do have a lot of costs. But we're in that phase now where we're growing. And I look back and, I was just talking to Paul. I thought, wow, we've come a long way. And here's the thing, your journey is here right now. Do you guys see that? In the next 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, it could be so much different. People come up to me and they say, Shaq, I see you traveling around the world. I'm like, yes. And I could see that they would love to. Who would love to travel around the world? Try traveling 50 countries in a year. It gets a little bit tiring. I just came back from, Canada. And in Canada, I had one of the students, a friend of mine, he hired a private helicopter to go. I told him, I said, man, ever since I was a kid, I wanted to go to Niagara Falls. Don't laugh at this part. I said, I always thought Niagara Falls was in America. And he said, Shaq, it's a couple of hours away. So he organized this private helicopter, which was amazing. It was the first time I went on one of those big helicopters. And we flew over Niagara Falls, and we could see the falls, and we just went down there. It was such an amazing experience. So, I'm able to do all of these things. Why? Because 5 years ago, I made one decision. Does that make sense? I just had to go on a call, and I paid him $1,500 for the hour, and my income just skyrocketed. And essentially, even now, I always do this. I just came back. Oh, you guys, if you're on my email list, I went to Canada. Most people think I went to Canada for a live event to expand. That was a byproduct, because here's what happened. I had to invest $25K with my buddy Matt Lloyd to go and see this man who's 72 years old. His name is Dan Sullivan. Anyone heard of Dan Sullivan? Okay, awesome. So Dan Sullivan basically teaches entrepreneurs how to think better. He has all these frameworks. And let me tell you this, I come from an Asian brown family. If I told my dad, I'm paying this 72-year-old man 25 grand, he's going to teach me how to think. I don't know if he's going to slap me or he's going to say, son, I'm really disappointed in you now. Haven't I taught you how to think? So we paid $25K. And, we went there. It was a whole bunch of stuff that he talked about. A lot of the stuff we knew, but he had to reaffirm it. And in the first 2 hours, I had the one breakthrough that I was like, wow, this is worth millions of dollars. Do you guys see where I'm going with this? Right? So the breakthroughs you want to come up with by having that open mind and being open. And so because I was going there and I was paying him 25K, I thought, hey guys, we should expand our events business in Canada. And we did. And let's just say it's gone pretty damn well. That's going to be my third home after Singapore now. And so coaching, second thing is this, community. No matter what I do, I always plug myself in communities, okay? You guys are part of the my.com business community right now, which is great. It's a great starting point. You want to make sure, because here's the honest truth. You can get all hyped up, jazzed when you're here, but when you're around friends and family, they don't get you. Yes or no? Anyone like that? Right? Even now, I tell my dad, actually, he did support me a few days ago. He said, son, you should save up your money. And I thought he was going to give me the same old lecture. But he said, because you told me you want to buy the private island. I said, yeah. He says, okay, save up. But when I got started, I had absolutely no support from my friends and family. Can anyone relate to that? Okay. And I remember one day being so happy. I was making about $2,000-3,000 a day. And it was like, I hit refresh and the sales are coming, and you can see the bar moving. And I went downstairs and I scripted, I don't usually script anything, but I scripted this, how I'm going to tell my dad. And I dragged him from the living room upstairs. I said, Dad, come upstairs. I need to show you this. I open up my computer and I'm like, watch this, Dad. And I hit refresh and the damn bar keeps moving up. And I'm like this excited, happy kid. And I said, Dad, what do you think, man? And he said, how long have you been making money like this? I said, about 2 weeks now. It's going to be consistent. He says, well, give it 2 months. If it's consistent, then it's good. And I just thought, wow. So I had a lot of support. And I quickly realized that when we come in as a community, as a family, we're in a very different world. Who feels like you're in a very different world than the people in the outside world, right? And I'll tell you now, as you start even getting deeper into a community, you start upgrading, whatever the case is, you start to see a very different reality. Even the guy, a lot of the times people will not resonate with a guy who makes $1 gazillion just because it's so outside their comfort zone. Does that make sense? Now, when I speak to my family, I say, oh yeah, I just do web design. Can you do my website? No. We're not that good of a company. We have people in the Philippines. It's going to be very bad. You shouldn't use us. Are you sure? Just make it. And I'm like, no, you shouldn't use us. So my own family have no clue what I do. My mom thinks I just travel around the world. My dad thinks, now he gets it. He understands what we're trying to achieve. But again, the reason why I share this is because I've always been part of a community. And you must ask yourself, who is the community that you're a part of? And here's the most important question, because this is a question I even ask myself now. Who are the 3 to 5 people I can reach out to anytime? Right? Write this down. Who are the 3 to 5 people that I can reach out to anytime? My team, I'm one of those people, I'm very content and happy with what I have, but I'm always striving for a lot more. Does that make sense? And so my team are happy because we're doing events in Singapore, Hong Kong, Canada, and I'm like, no guys, now I want to do, going from one event every 3 months, we're going to one event a week, and I'm like, guys, I'm not happy, I want to do 8 events a month. And they're like, Shaq, you're killing us. I'm like, no one's dying, so we can carry on. And but do you guys understand what I'm talking about? The growth? Oh, let me put this thing back on. So it's very important for me. I've always been driven by growth. I'll figure it out later, but right now I want to grow. Ask yourself, who are the top 3 to 5 people that you can get questions from? Now, when I say stuff like we're doing, 4 events or 8 events, even when I tell my team, they get very happy, right? Do you guys think that's pretty cool? Yes, right? But then I have friends that I am in touch with. I was speaking to one guy, his name is Peter Wen, and he said, oh, Shaq, we just done $300 million in the last 12 months, over 12 brands. And I'm like, damn, why am I struggling with 5 brands? Do you guys see the difference? So, and it's not, it's not all about making money. I was talking to Marilyn, and I said, Marilyn, one of my top values is having fun and having a life. But it's about pushing yourself, right? The more that you can push yourself, the bigger the result, the bigger the breakthrough. So I've always been part of communities, coaching, and essentially having sales funnels, okay? What I discovered was I could take the same sales funnel I have in Singapore, and then I could tweak it a little bit, which essentially means go onto my slides and tweak it from special for Singapore workshop to special for Canada workshop. By the way, don't worry, I'm not going to do that with you guys here, but because that's a very basic event. And all I'm doing is having the same materials duplicated, and now I'm going into a different market. Does that make sense? And suddenly, my entire business just doubled in 1 month, right? It doubled in 1 month, and we're planning to grow it. I have very big goals for the next year. I want to grow 10x from what we've done this year over the next 12 months. And when it comes down to it, it's sales funnels. Would you guys want to learn about sales funnels? Right, I'm going to talk to you guys about sales funnels. Why? Because right now in the industry, not being too braggadocious, but I have some of the highest converting sales funnels. People that join my list, I would make $10 to $20, $30 per subscriber per month. Is that great, you guys? Okay, now it won't happen for you overnight, I'm just telling you. It takes a little bit of time in the beginning, but you have to look at this as a long-term play. If you look at it as a 12-month plan, then I'm pretty confident that you guys can have a very much higher ROI on your investment. Does that make sense? I remember the first time I made $1 million, it was from about 10,000 subscribers. Is that powerful, you guys? From 10,000 subscribers. And then I thought to the first thing I did was obviously call my dad. Dad, I made $1 million. Are you sure? Dad, I'm sure, man. I got $1 million cash saved. Okay, son, don't tell anyone. All right, so that was, and again, what I discovered was, I actually never believed. I thought, man, I just got lucky because I made, $1 million. Then I made the second one and thought, no, now I really got lucky. And then by the time I made my third million, and then now I've done about $25 million in sales over the last few years, I realized there's an art and science to it. Does that make sense? That's how I went from 1 to now building 6 different businesses to $1 million and beyond. And again, it's the art and science which I'm going to talk to you guys about here. Do you guys do webinars? Would you guys want to learn about webinars? Hey, listen, the first time I did a webinar with Paul Lynch, the first day, we sold 22 or 26 MLRs. Is that powerful? Just from one day. And obviously, Paul wasn't as smart as he is today, so because he didn't upgrade, so all of those pass-ups came to me. Thanks, Paul. I don't drink, so I can't buy you drinks. I'll buy you some food later on or something. So for me, coaching, community, sales funnels. That's going to be my topic over the next 3 days. I've got some amazing keynotes that I'm going to cover with you guys. That's going to cover email marketing. Do you guys want to learn email marketing? Okay, you guys get my emails every day, yes? Each email takes me about 30 to 45 minutes. I'm literally going to go and send an email right now. When I send an email in the morning, I can expect anywhere from 20 to 28,000 US dollars coming to my account by the end of the day. It doesn't matter where I'm at in the world, I do that. Does that make sense? Now, do you think people complain when I email? Yes. I have people saying, Shaq, you are a terrorist. Why are you emailing me? This is a scam. I have all of this stuff, but do you think I care? No. Okay, I keep doing it because it's one of those things I'm consistent. Over the next 3 days, we're going to show you guys email marketing campaigns that have worked for me. We're also going to give you guys some done-for-you emails so you can go and leverage. Webinars. Who here is currently doing webinars? Raise your hand. Okay. Who here is currently not doing webinars? Honesty in the room. Gosh, guys, it's one of the reasons why you're not making money. Okay, one webinar a month, one webinar every couple of weeks. It's going to help you guys. Today we're going to, over the next 3 days, we're going to cover webinars. My last webinar, the one before I did last, I think it was about 6 to 8 months ago, one single webinar. The first time I did a webinar, I was so nervous, I was sweaty, I did it in the basement. And I said to myself, well, this is leverage. This is a leverage tool. I need to get really good at doing webinars. You want to write this down. Get really proficient at doing webinars, especially if you don't like making videos. When I was 21 years old, I was morbidly obese. I was like really fat, had long greasy hair, and I did not want to put myself on video. Paul, you're not allowed to show any of my pictures from back then. Okay, just a side notice. And I remember thinking to myself, you know what, I need to figure out how to do these webinars so I can sit at home and just present and talk. And I remember going to Australia. Anyone been to Australia? Sydney, Australia? The first time I went to Sydney, Australia, there's a guy called John Sugar. He had this webinar going around and he said, Shaq, can you promote this to your list? I said, man, I'm not good at doing webinars, but why don't you come along and you do the content, you do the pitch, and I'll drive the traffic. And it was about 4 a.m. So I land in Sydney, Australia. I go to my hotel room. I call up my friend, the guys that used to work for me, and I say, hey guys, have you guys done the webinar? And they're like, no, Shaq, there's 2 hours left. You can do some preparation or not, and just start doing the webinar in, I think it was like 6 a.m. So I stay up all night. I do this webinar, and the first day we make $60,000. It was about $58,000. And at that moment, I was like, wow. By the way, it wasn't even my product. All I did was host the webinar. Does that make sense? Imagine you being able to host a single webinar and have other people, have Paul Lynch, have Phil sell for you guys instead of you trying to sell. Do you guys see the power behind that? So my first time, I wanted just a jump start, right? I wanted someone to fast track me, getting me results. And so I remember telling him, you do all the work, let me just leverage you and I'll just pay you. And the next day, they kept saying, Shaq, send out a replay. And I was like, no, I don't want to send this out to my subscribers. They could complain. They said, Shaq, you need to send out a black bloody replay. So I sent it out. The next day, we did $60,000. And no one had to convince me anything else. Every single day for about 15 days, I emailed the list. Okay, I had a lot of complaints back then. What had happened was, in a period of about 3 months, we generated over $320,000 from a single webinar. Is that powerful, you guys? And I thought to myself, wow, I probably could never ever do this ever again. And so I didn't for a long time. And then I started doing webinars again, and every webinar I did since then, some of them have completely flopped. Do you guys think some of them don't work? Absolutely. Some of them may not work. Some of them, what's going to happen, I'm telling you this now, because I want you guys to position yourself with doing webinars. Sometimes you're going to see results that will come in much, much later. So last year, I did a 1 webinar campaign. Okay, how many? One. And it completely changed my business because it pulled in over $1.5 million, about $1.4 million from 1 webinar. And on the webinar, I just got on, spoke for 2 hours, and I said, hey, you want to buy my products? They start from $10,000 to $25,000, $40,000. And we emailed that replay, I don't know how many times, but let's just say a lot. But do you guys understand the leverage? A few months ago, anyone know a guy called Raymond Aaron? Okay, so Raymond, yeah, he's the book guy, right? So Raymond Aaron is a good friend of mine. He's 70-something years old. He's been speaking on stage for 32 years. He's a great speaker. And he says, Shaq, I want you to come in and teach some of these students about MOB. So I come in, teach them about MOB, give them a bunch of value, and then I leave. Remember, this was a webinar, and they said, Shaq, do you want to pitch something? I said, I always have something to sell. I'll be happy to offer. So I offered some stuff. At that webinar, not a single person bought. There wasn't a lot. There was maybe 20, 30 buyers, but not a single person bought. Here's what happens. I'm in Toronto. The first day we walk into Toronto, this guy comes up to me, and he says, hey, Shaq, can I get 5 minutes of your time? I drove here. I said, I'll give anyone 5 minutes. Just don't try and sell me weight loss tablets or your MLM programs, okay? Addy. No, I'm kidding. I know Addy, so I'm picking on him. The guy comes up to me, his name is Tony, and he says, hey, Shaq, I just turned 50 years old today, and I'm ready to buy a business. What do I have to do? And I said, hey, this is what's going to happen. You need coaching, you need some traffic, sales funnels. I just showed him the triangle. At the end, I said, well, there's a couple of options, $50,000 or $120K, $130K. And he said, okay, I'll take the $50K option. He literally went to the back of the room, paid 20 grand deposit. and say, I'm going to go home tonight and I'm going to tell my wife that's my 50th birthday present to myself. The next day he comes in, frantically looking. Remember Sean? He's going crazy. And I'm like, is everything okay? I'm like thinking to myself, was there buyer's remorse? Or does he want a refund? Or like, what's going on? He comes in and says, Shaq, listen, I spoke to my wife. I've decided. He's a realtor, by the way. He sells real estate. He goes, Shaq, I've decided I'm going to give you $130,000 cash to come and work with you. Do you guys think that's powerful? Okay, and I always ask this one question is, how did you find me and what made you buy? And he said to me, hey, I was on a webinar with you and Raymond, and I just heard your enthusiasm. I just know you know your stuff, and I want to fast track. I've done all this stuff. I've tried. I'm sick and tired. I just want to fast track. And I said, when was this webinar? He said, because I was doing the webinar and I had my video turned on so you can see me. He goes, no, it wasn't the video, Shaq. My computer didn't work, so I called in and I listened in. And I thought, wow. Do you guys see where I'm going with this? 4 months ago, I did this one webinar, and then 3-4 months later, the residual effect is coming on board. Do you understand? So imagine now you do webinars. Imagine now you position yourself. Imagine now you're able to work and you're actually doing something and you start building on it, right? Then what happens is it becomes unstoppable. And that's basically that's how I've been able to. There's no magic. That's the magic. I'm going to go into a little bit of the tactics later on over the next 3 days. But essentially, every single time I want something, I ask myself, who can I go and get coaching from? Who can I go and learn from? And I'm always investing in myself, always. Okay, and then I ask myself, who are the people that I can go and mastermind with? Who's the community? And every single time I hire coaches or whatever, I usually outbeat them. Okay, and so that's why I always have to have extra coaches. And then here, and I talk about this concept which I want to talk about today called MSOT, multiple sources of traffic. Now I've started adding in multiple sources of sales funnels. Okay, multiple sources of traffic plus multiple sources of cash flow. Multiple sources of traffic plus multiple sources of conversions equals lots of cash, equals lots of money. However, if you add in multiple sources of sales funnels, do you think your income will expand? It exponentially grows. Okay, most people, they always focus on one sales funnel. That's good to start off with. Right now, we have a sales funnel that sells a program, that sells a, what do you call it? It's called a tripwire, which I'm going to talk to you guys about later on. A $7 tripwire that leads people from $7 all the way up to $40,000. That's one sales funnel. Then I have another sales funnel. It goes from $500, people come in for $500, and then it goes all the way up to $120,000. Then I have another sales funnel, which is the MOB sales funnel, which I have. It's called the MCS sales funnel. That one takes a $49 customer. By the way, who here promotes MOB? Okay, I'm guessing, about 80% of you guys. Okay, so MOB is an affiliate marketing program. We're going to talk about that right now. But that's a program that I've done over about $3.5 million in commissions. And again, it's just a sales funnel, which I've tweaked. I've made it much better than what's out on the marketplace. And then all I do is just send traffic. Does that make sense? And because I have multiple sources of traffic working for me, multiple sources of conversions, and I have multiple sources of sales funnels, those three things have essentially helped me build what I've built, and that's what we're going to be sharing with you guys. Okay?